All right, let's try that again. We had some kind of technical snafu there, but let's do the intro again in case you didn't see this. So, hello, I'm Mark Cook. I'm the CEO of Shiny Shoe. We are the creators of Monster Train, working with our partner Good Shepherd to bring the game to you, and I'm super excited to say that it is out now. You can go get it on Steam, and it's $24.99 US dollars in US, €20.99 euros if that's your currency, and regional pricing for wherever else you might be in the world that kind of matches games that at that price point on Steam. So yeah, super pumped to get online, play multiplayer with people, compete on the leaderboards, so on and so forth. And today we've got a big day of streaming. So I'm the first one who's going to go on the official channel, on the Good Shepherd channel. I'm going to be streaming for 2 hours. After me is going to be Andrew, the game director, the lead designer on Monster Train. And then we've got some kind of community streamers who like the game and we love them who are going to be streaming. So we've got Rhapsody, Wanderbot, and Divide and Conquer. And we have a special stream at 5 p.m. my time, so 7 hours from now, that's going to be kind of a panel discussion between myself, Andrew, and Anthony from Megacrit, the creators of Slay the Spire. So super excited to talk to him and talk deck building games and what's cool about them and so on and so forth. But for today, I am happy to take any questions about the game, about its development, about how we made it, about game rules and whatever, and I'll try my best to answer everything that I can. The one thing that I often know the least about is kind of the lore and backstory, but there might be other developers from the dev team in the chat who might be able to help out with those types of questions, but I can do my best on those as well. Yeah, so let's jump into it. I'm probably not going to play multiplayer right away because we might have some people here who are not super familiar with the game, so I'm going to play a single player run. I'm not going to go like super slow since definitely we've been doing these streams for a while, but I'm going to help ease some people in, and then hopefully, since we have 2 hours today, I'll be able to go and do some multiplayer as well. All right, we've got 2 questions so far. I'll answer those now, and I'll try to intersperse answering questions throughout the stream. So we've got, I'm going to butcher everybody's name. It's kind of fun. So Irindurori, that can't be right, asked, Ascend and Descend ignores room size, correct? It does, generally. It ignores capacity rules, so you can use cards that ascend or descend a unit within the train, within the rooms on the train, which will move them between those rooms, which I'm sure we're going to see today. And I'll draft a card that does one of these on purpose so we can see how it works. It can break capacity rules. However, there is a limit for total number of units that can be in a single train room on one side, which is 7. And even with Ascend and Descend, you can't break that rule. So that rule is a hard rule. All right. Drimdort says, who is Herzl? Great question. He's a historian, a writer. He collects all the lore about hell. That's about all I know. Redbeard, who is that's the online name of the writer, Brendan, for the game, he would know. So if he's in chat, please show up and help me with lore answers. Amphi DSF says, was Seraph always a jerk? Pretty much, as far as I know, but yeah, again, maybe Redbeard knows. Okay, with that out of the way, let's go. All right, cool. Here we are, Monster Train release version 9294. I'm playing with the same version that anybody else in the world can play right now. So no special developer kind of cheat version or anything like that. Let's do a run. I admit, though, I have cheated to unlock all of the content just so that we could be ready to show everything on stream. I think today, for our clans, this is how every kind of Monster Train run starts. You choose between, you choose 2 clans. A primary clan, which affects who your champion is. So this is the Hellhorn champion, the Hornbreaker Prince. And an allied clan, which comes along the train with you. And these choices affect what cards you see during your run, what artifacts, which are the passive benefits, and the decisions that you'll be making as you play. So, as you can see, if I change my primary clan to the Stygian Guard, I've got a different champion. Champions have special upgrades that they can get throughout the course of the run, so this is an important decision, of course, and they each have different kind of gameplay themes. And the thing that's really cool about the primary and allied clan concept is we can blend and mix and match between all of these different all of these different kind of monster clans and cards and so on, so you can kind of theory craft about what the best combination is. All right, Lowell23 asks, will this game fill the void of my empty existence? Yes, it absolutely will. All right, and Hansen asks, is the damage calculating simulated or quick calc? I've noticed it doesn't calculate fully when I have regen on the sentient with rejuvenate spikes. Damage calculation for the preview in battle should be 100% accurate to the outcome of what's going to happen. That said, it's a very complicated system in terms of how the technology works and the code works to try to calculate that, given all the game rules. So if you see a specific bug in the release version of the game especially, please feel free to report it. We're all ears. You can join our Discord community at discord.gg/monstertrain, and you can report bugs there. Or, perhaps even better, there's a feedback feature in the game. If you push the F8 key, you can send whatever you want to type in, and you send it to the dev team. It also sends in your log file, a screenshot, and your save game, which can make it easier for us to reproduce bugs. So, if you see something like that, please use that feature and send it over. Can I turn down the music? Yes, I can. There we go. Is that better? I'll wait a sec to get confirmation. Okay, cool. Got a yes. All right. Seaman Natlan says, from watching streamers, I've noticed going Stygian changes your damage spells to the spears, even if it's just your allied clan. Are there other clans that override the spells, and how does it resolve between allied and primary clan? Great question. So, yes. The starting cards in your deck are completely determined based on the clans that you are playing. So, for the Hellhorned, in addition to starting with the champion, excuse me, if it's your primary clan, you start with a couple of copies of a card called Torch, which is just a direct damage to any unit you want spell. If your primary clan is the Awoken, you start, or allied, these kind of starter cards come with your initial deck, regardless if it's primary or allied. With the Awoken as your primary clan, you get Restore, which heals and gives 1 stack of regen. If you have the Stygian Guard in your clan picks, you get Frozen Lance, I believe it's called, which is a front damage only, so it only hits the front enemy in the room you cast it in. However, it does 3 times the amount of base damage as Torch, so like hitting the front enemy is a little bit of a drawback, but it does more damage, so there's an upside to it. The Umbra clan starts with a card called Shade Splitter, which generates a morsel. It's like a little unit that can be eaten. If you've watched other streamers, maybe you've seen how this works, but maybe we'll play the Umbra, we can find out. But that's a really interesting one. It's not an attack spell or a healing spell, it generates units. And then finally, the starting card for the Melting Remnant is itself a unit. It's called a Dreg, which is kind of like a weak, candle-y creature with spiky arms. So there are different sorts of things. So 3 clans start with spells, or excuse me, 4 clans start with spells. 2 of them do damage, 1 is healing. One of the other spells is the unit generation one with the Umbra, and the starting cards for the Melting Remnant includes a unit directly called the Dreg. Alright, Face Melted asks, I know you just launched, but what are the long-term plans with the game? Well, great question. We would love to update Monster Train long-term with all sorts of new content. We already have like a huge backlog of ideas from the development team, our private beta testers, and just players generally. You know, UI features that we want to add. We want to expand multiplayer, add more mutators. I mean, I'm just speaking hypothetically here. This is like not promising anything, but I would love to do another clan. Another idea we've talked about is more champions for the existing clans. There's lots of ideas out there. I can't commit to anything other than saying we are very excited about continuing to update Monster Train, responding to community concerns, bug reports, so on and so forth. I think in the very short term, during launch week, we're going to be looking for any major issues people are experiencing and trying to fix those rapidly. But beyond that, yeah, can't promise anything, but really we want to, you know, ideally for a very long time, continue to update Monster Train to keep it fresh and interesting. All right, Lowell23 asks, can you change the champion? Right now, no. So, okay, I just mentioned that, but your primary clan changes the champion, but each clan right now only has one champion. And each champion has multiple different upgrade paths at the Dark Forge, which we will see as soon as we start a run. So we'll wait a little bit for that. We're going to see it in a minute. I'm still working through the questions. At some point, I'm just going to have to start the run and just try to weave in the questions as we go. Shiny Redbeard says, there are a few characters that are mentioned that were crucial in creating the rail that are not in the game. DLC question mark. I guess it's possible. Yeah, good point. Mouse Kraus says, what would you say is the major inspiration as far as story and lore? Shiny Redbeard, over to you. Yeah, as writer, he's going to have the best answers for that. I'm not exactly sure what were his specific inspirations for coming up with the lore on all of the characters in world. So I'll let him answer that, and while he's doing that in chat, I'm going to start and play. And for fun, you know, another thing that we added, this was added for like more experienced players, but I think it's fun, and hopefully if you get the game and you like it, you will be an experienced player after a number of hours of play. Is a random selection, just to keep it fresh. You're like, I don't know what I want to play. Let's just see what we get. I'm going to go for random on both, and we will see what clans we get. We're also going to leave the Covenant right now at Covenant rank 1. So when you first get the game, it's going to start at Covenant 0, we call it on the dev team, but it'll be disabled. And the Covenant is our kind of like ever-increasing difficulty modifier for single player. So Covenant rank 1 changes the game a little bit, enemies are stronger, add additional random cards to your starting deck. We will see this in a little bit. Since the kind of public beta and the demo, we've added a win streak feature depending on what Covenant you're playing, where we track win streaks, which is like a kind of elder game single player feature. And this goes up to 25 Covenant ranks currently, and you have to beat each one consecutively to unlock the next. Excuse me. But we're going to start at 1. So let's do that. What clans did we get? All right, so I can see them in the HUD because I know the icons. So our primary clan is the Awoken, the kind of healing, spikes-oriented clan. And our secondary clan is the Stygian Guard, which is spell casting, Frostbite, which is a damage over time effect, and Sap, which is a kind of like reducing the attack power of enemy units kind of effect. Some of their themes. They've got others. We'll see them as we go forward. This is kind of the UI that you see when you start a run at Covenant 1 or higher. You kind of see the random starting cards as well. So we get to see which version of Seraph, who is our final boss, we will face. And the reason why we tell you this up front, gameplay-wise, is for strategic planning purposes, for long-term planning. So you can think about how you want to build your deck. You know, we're a deck-building game, strategy game. You know, maybe 45 minutes ahead of the time before you get to the boss, you can be thinking about what picks make the most sense given what the boss is going to do. So we've got Seraph the Chaste. What does he do? So in Monster Train, we've tried to like really do our best to make every single thing that matters to the player have a hover tooltip that explains what it means. So let's see what it says. He's got the Purifying Emblem. Seraph will remove half of any buff and debuff effect stacks. Buffs are effects that are generally positive for their target and are represented by green icons. Debuffs, generally negative and are represented by red icons. So this is interesting. We've got to think about our clans. So Spikes is considered a buff, unless we change that, but I don't think we did. So I think Spikes is considered a buff still. So spike-oriented strategies with the Awoken could be cleansed off by Seraph, which is not great. And Sap is definitely a debuff, which is a Stygian Guard mechanic, which could be cleansed off of himself and enemies. So we should consider that as we go forward. All right. And our random starting cards for this. And we put random starting cards into the game on every run, just as another randomizer to keep things interesting and fresh. You know, like we want decisions to be meaningful, impactful, and interesting at all times as you're playing. And, you know, this roguelite genre is all about randomization and replayability. And so we felt this was like a strong way to add something interesting to the game every single time you play a run. So this run, I'm starting with Wildwood Sap, Consume, Any card that has the consume keyword means you can only cast it once per battle, unless you come up with some way to avoid that limitation. And it applies Regen 5, which restores 1 health per stack at the end of the turn. So that is definitely a buff. It's green, so our tooltips show you what's a buff and what's not. Sounds good. That'll be nice early on. We've got Ice Tornado, which comes from the Stygian Guard. Deal 20 damage to a random enemy unit 3 times. We've got 2 copies of both of these, by the way. This one costs 3 Ember, so it's expensive, but it scales well with Magic Power, which is a way to buff kind of your spell casting. It's could be a good card against Seraph the Chase because he doesn't cleanse off direct damage. And we got 1 Wildwood Custodian, which is a uncommon card. That's why it's got this blue icon here, and draws an extra card each turn. I love this card. I love the Wildwood Custodian. Super happy to see it in my starting deck. All right, I'm going to go back to questions real quick. Mousecross says, how much of an impact has streamer and YouTuber viewership had? Any changes based on more eyes in the game? Well, it's had a huge impact for sure. I think one of the earliest major impacts we saw was when a streamer called Rhapsody picked up the game in the public beta. So thank you very much to Rhapsody and Wanderbot, who streamed it early on. And we had a lot of people join our Discord based on seeing it there. And yeah, I mean, we've been super player focused and iteration focused, the entire time the game's been developed for the last 2-ish years. But especially once we had a lot of people playing that public beta and later demo and so on, and we have a smaller group of private beta testers. I think that's one of the things that's really improved the game over time is listening to all of the biggest pieces of feedback and trying to eliminate all problems that people had with the game and complaints. And I think every major issue that was complained about in the public beta, they're all gone out of the game. They're all fixed, or they're all improved, or we added features based on common feature requests. So I really think the game's in a great place, and yes, we took a lot of feedback and applied it to the game, and we're going to continue to do that moving forward. So I'm expecting even more feedback now that more people will have access to it, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. All right, Lal23 asks, will there be an option to turn off background animation? Yes, that's already in the settings. We added that based on player feedback for in the battle. It's under an accessibility section. All right. Othello MC says, one thing I noticed from watching playthroughs is that it's quite easy to snowball out of control, plus power dispels and units and duping them. How do you balance the game between being too easy or too difficult? Well, we have a couple of ways we do that. One is we listen to player feedback and we just watch what's going on. We also have an anonymous data collection in the game, so we can see all kinds of information about how people are playing. We don't know who you are, but we know that you're playing the game, and we record data about what card is the most powerful, which cards are winning the most, and so on and so forth. And we use that data to buff or nerf different cards or redesign them if necessary. And we've been continuously doing that for months. One thing I would say, though, especially if you're watching streams for people playing on Covenant 0 or Covenant 1, is that the game gets a lot harder as the Covenant levels go up. That's the single-player Elder game, is to try to reach Covenant 25 first, and then create win streaks on Covenant 25, where you win repeatedly. And some of the snowball out-of-control strategies are much harder or impossible to kind of make work at higher Covenants. And so, we're generally, I think design philosophy-wise, we're okay with there being snowball things that happen. You get lucky, and just everything is perfect. You get all the perfect things you need for your strategy, and that can be fun. It's not great if it happens all the time. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of philosophy around tuning there. All right, Slow Psycho says, did you actually get to Covenant 25, or is that a dev hacksaw? Shamefully, it's a dev hacksaw. So, I mean, I have to reset my save data all the time to test things or to, I don't know, mostly about testing things. We test what we call the first-time user experience, the tutorials and stuff, and so I have to keep resetting my save data over and over for various reasons. Everybody on the dev team does. I am now excited to play the game for real in the release version and try to see how high I can go up the Covenant ladder. The last time I tried, I was on Covenant 4, I think, but since that time, the Covenants have been modified based on balance feedback and so on and so forth. All right, I'll jump back to the questions, I promise, but for a sec, I'm gonna look at the run. So let's see, what artifacts did we start with? Okay, we got 2. There's kind of two classes of, well, multiple classes of artifacts. There are ones that are generic that can show up in any run. There are ones that are clan specific, and you only see them if you're playing one of those two clans for your primary or allied. And there are artifacts that come only from Concealed Caverns events. So these two are both generic ones that could show up in any run. So we've got the Precious Plating. Your Pyre gets 40 extra life. And your Pyre, since if there's anybody new watching, this represents your health for the run. It's up here in the upper left. Lore-wise, it's like the last shard of the fire-generating pyre that generates the fires of hell. We're trying to bring it back into the center of hell to restore the flames, to push the Gilded Wing, the kind of splinter faction forces of heaven that are trying to destroy hell out of here. So by getting 40 more pyre health, that would help us stay alive longer if we're taking pyre damage. It also allows you to be a little bit riskier with taking trials sometimes, which we'll see what that is in a minute, because you have more room to work in, so to speak, in terms of life. And we've got the improved Firebox. Gain 7 Ember on the first turn of battle. So Ember is mana in our game, essentially. So 7 Ember is great. It is only on the first turn. So if we look at our deck, we do have 2 high-cost spells here. So you could hope that you get one in your hand on the first turn, and then it would be essentially free by the fact that we have the improved Firebox. So I'm going to go for that. Maybe, like, by going for this, let's go for a high Ember cost strategy, see if we can get some great stuff that costs a lot of Ember, and kind of see if we can combo off that. And every run before you start, you get to go to the Dark Forge and choose a champion upgrade. So we only have one champion in our deck, and it's based on our primary clan. There are 3 upgrade paths per champion, so we only see 2 of them per run, so even this is randomized. So today, we get to choose from these 2. We've got the Cultivating path. Gives our Sentient Revenge, draw 1. Revenge is a trigger. Those are purple in their tooltip. And that means something has to happen for the effect to happen. So this Revenge is triggers when damaged. So this is like a frontline shield type of unit. Just like get high health, just sit there and block. Doesn't actually attack. You can see the attack stat on this is 0. But can help you draw cards. It's essentially on the next turn. Well, no, but you can direct damage your own units too to draw cards, so there's that strategy available. That's definitely a higher level play. So that's one path. And the other one is the Explosive path, where we have a Rejuvenate ability. Every time we heal the Sentient, we deal 15 damage to front enemy unit. So it's like more of an attack-oriented approach. So, I don't know, thinking about like the fact that Stygian Guard is our allied clan and has a lot of attack damage spells, I'm kind of tempted to go for the Cultivating path, because then I'm going to draft a bunch of cards that are around doing attack damage with spells rather than relying on the Sentient to deal damage. So let's do that. Alright, so onward, out of Limbo to the first battle. Our first battle is Guardians of the Light. And in the battle intro, before you fight, every time, we've got a couple of things we can do. One, we can look at who the enemies are going to be. So if you mouse over them, we tell you what they do, what their stats are, so on and so forth. We didn't used to do this, so this was an example of feedback that was given during the public beta, that we added this as a feature, and people seem to like it. So I'm glad that, you know, listening to feedback I feel is so critical to the success of this game and any game that we make. And so this was just an example of taking player feedback and putting in something that definitely added value to the game. In each battle, there are different possible bosses, like each ring of hell, I should say. There are different possible bosses that can show up. This time we got Chains of the Sighted. His special ability is he adds a Weight of Contrition card to the top of our draw pile, which I'll show you what that means when we get into battle. All right, and then we can choose an optional trial to increase the difficulty of the battle. That's something I'll say as well in terms of like people snowballing. If people aren't taking trials, then it makes the game easier in some regards because you don't have to deal with the extra challenge. You do get a reward for taking trials, so that can also possibly make the game easier if that allows you to buy something that is really valuable for you. But, you know, as a roguelite type of game, like, yes, I want those coins, which are used at merchants to buy upgrades, but I don't know if I'm specifically going to get the random rolls for the perfect upgrades that I want on this run. So, anyways, it's always a gamble. Risk versus reward. I'm going to take the trial. Let's see. let's just take them all on this run so I can show you what they do. So they're going to make the game harder and more complicated and more to think about. So non-boss enemy units enter with spikes 3. So spikes means when I deal damage to them with unit attacks, I'll get damage back. Which doesn't seem that scary given we have so many spells in our deck. So for our current kind of clan combinations, that's not too bad. Alright, I'll jump back to the questions real quick. Mousecross says, is there any colorblind options or plans to add any? We don't have any colorblind options right now. I think I'd be really interested in feedback from the community about where issues are and where we might be able to kind of create clarity around that. So definitely willing to consider it. We are expecting a kind of sighting impaired player who offered to stream our game today called Glitch Vision 0101 on Steam around 3 p.m. Pacific, my time, so 4.5 hours from now, I think. And he'll be playing it, so I think that we're definitely going to watch that on the dev team and see if there's some interesting lessons we can learn from that. But yeah, definitely please send feedback about how we might be able to clarify things with a colorblind mode, and we're happy to listen. All right, jumping back. C. Manatlan. I was talking to Steve Shiny, who's another one of the developers on the team. Said, I've played a ton of the demo, and it really feels like Slay on Hellhorn dwarfed any other champion variant on Hellhorn or Awoken. Did you guys feel like that in testing? What has changed in the final build? Yeah, there was definitely like quite a few strategies in the demo and in the public beta that were like way overpowered. All of those have been eliminated or just completely redesigned in the full game. So I encourage you to explore what the Hellhorn champion does now. I mean, I think the Slay-oriented upgrade path still exists, but it has been balanced much better against other paths which have been buffed significantly, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the demo had tuning that's like two or 3 months behind what the full game is. So there's been probably 1,000 tuning changes at least since the time the demo went out. All right. Okay, let's play at least one turn, and then I'll jump back to the questions. So I'm just going to go ahead and play my champion in the bottom floor. So we've got our trains, multi-floor here. This is our pyre, the thing that I mentioned earlier. We're trying to protect it. If the pyre loses all its life, then we die. It's up here in the HUD as well. Enemies climb, by default, unless there's some rule changing this, they climb 1 floor per turn. And so our goal is to defeat them before they reach the pyre room and start attacking our pyre. All right, and I'm gonna play my sentient. I could choose any room I want to play her in, but I'm gonna play her in the bottom floor because I actually kind of want to take damage because I'm gonna draw more cards. We've got our extra Ember. Normally you only have 3. That's kind of what this means here. This is another thing that we added based on player feedback. So number of Ember we're going to get per turn, and number of cards we're going to get per turn, which can change for a variety of reasons, which we won't see right now, but we may see later. But because of our improved Firebox, we've got 10 Ember. Alright, so good. We got Ice Tornado. Let's just use it. I think it's gonna kill everybody. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you, Ice Tornado. But we are not going to get any revenge triggers on our champion because we didn't take any damage. I'm also going to summon in a Train Steward behind my champion to be protected because we've got this 0-40 kind of wall here. And I might as well cast these Restores since they add regen now, which was not the case in the demo. This card has been redesigned since then. So I can get 2 regen. Doesn't really help me right now, but why not do it? All right. Okay. So if you haven't really seen the game much before, now we've got some new enemies enter the train. Enemies enter the train almost every turn. And a collector appeared here on the 3rd floor. So collectors only stay around for 1 turn, normally. They flee from combat if they're not rooted or dazed. So there are ways to stop them from fleeing. We don't have any of those methods right now. And if you kill them, this one is going to give me 50 gold. So I definitely want to do that. Greedy, I want the gold. So we could either use a spell. We've got Frozen Lance or Ice Tornado, or we could do a Train Steward. I think I'll do a Train Steward just to try to get more. Well, I mean, I also kind of want to cast Ice Tornado down here, which is tempting, although that'll take up all my Ember, and I won't get the Collector. I really want the gold, so let's kill him. Okay, let's just use Frozen Lance. And then I'm going to put both of my train stewards here to create more kind of board presence, so to speak. Now, we'll see if that was a mistake. Probably was. We've got 2 enemies here. They're going to climb, and I'm going to wish that I had Ice Tornado in my hand, of course, on next turn, but probably won't. But we did get to draw 2 cards. I've got my animation speed right now in the slowest mode. I think I was testing something earlier. I normally play in the fastest mode called Ultra, so you can change between these. And then if you hold down right-click while you're in Ultra, you can go into Super Ultra, or aka Ludicrous Speed, which makes the game go incredibly fast. So I think most super experienced players play that way. I think I'll leave it in fast for now, so that it's faster than it was in slow mode, but still fairly readable. All right. Before we decide what to do next, jump back to questions. Plans to release on Switch. This is my personal opinion, not an announcement. I think the game would be great on Switch. So let's find out what happens. I mean, we'll see. I can say we are not working on that yet, but I think it would be a great platform for the game. Concept Artist says, what is the single-player experience like? Well, you're looking at it. So we've really tried to design like a very long progression for the game. I mean, I've played the game hundreds of hours for fun, even. I'm on the development team, and some of our private beta testers have played hundreds of hours as well. So your goals are to first unlock all the clans, unlock all the cards. You got to level up all the clans, unlock all the artifacts, unlock all the Covenant levels, keep rising up, try to get to Covenant level 25. Then you can master all the cards. So I actually have a few cards that are mastered here. You can see that Restore has a different card frame from Frozen Lance. The reason why this is kind of gold, red and gold, is I've mastered it. To master a card, you have to win a run with that card in your deck. And you track all that progress in a feature called the logbook. So here you can see my logbook. This is kind of like tracks all your long-term player progression. And you can see how my dev cheats have said I've beaten Covenant 25, which is a lie. I think I'm actually going to ask sometime later when we're not busy with the launch of the game to reset my own data on the live game servers so that I can try with some actual pride to raise myself up in the Covenant ranks. So just to go over this page real quick, this is a really cool page of the logbook. This is kind of like our single player, like you want to get everything to fully master the game. Okay. First, let's look at Covenant rank. Actually, let's not look at that first. Let's look at clan progress. First, you want to unlock all the clans. So I've cheated, so I've got them all. Then you want to level them all up to level 10. I've also cheated to do that, but that takes time. You earn experience points across every run. When you level up, you unlock 1 card and 1 artifact. I think almost every time. There might be a little bit of variance there, but that's essentially the idea. Next, you've got your card collection. So cards that are gray means I've discovered them. I've seen them in the game somewhere. And so you want to discover all the cards. Then you want to master them. Master them means you've got to win with them in your deck with at least Covenant level 1. You can't do it on Covenant 0. And then they become gold. So you want to get all of them gold. We also have the clanless cards. These are the cards that come from the Concealed Caverns events. So you want to find all of those. Some of those are rare and hard to find, so you want to get all of those things. Now let's look at victories. We track at what Covenant level with each of the 20 primary and allied clan combinations have you won the game at. So this is saying I've won a single run, which I probably cheated on this also because we're just testing to get ready to release the game. With Hellhorned as my primary clan, Awoken as my allied clan at Covenant level 1, which is what this little icon here is. So to really fully master the game, in addition to mastering all the cards, level 10 on all of them, you've got to get Covenant level 25 on all 20 variations of clan combinations. You can compare your Covenant rank over here on the left with your friends. So I've got a couple of people here who have played the game, and they are at Covenant 1, 1, and 2. So AmphiDSF is in chat, I know, because they asked a question earlier. On Covenant 2 here on the live version of the game, they're on 25 for sure on the private beta. So unlike me, Cheaty McCheat, they've actually done it. And then the last thing we've got here on this page is a relatively new feature about win streaks. And there are different cups. There's the Imp Cup, which tracks your win streak on Covenant 1 to 9, so we kind of bucket them that way. the last one is the Herzl's Cup, which is at rank 25. So like the ultimate expression of mastery of Monster Train is fill out all of the things that I talked about, in single player I should say, is to fill out all these things in the logbook and then get this number for your Covenant 25 win streak as high as possible, which you can also compare against people online. So that is over here. If you look at the Herzl's Cup, so MPDSF has a, this must be somehow pulling data from, something's going on. I don't know if this is a bug or somehow like data from, it's probably data from the private beta somehow got uploaded to production servers, but anyway, we'll figure that out. But bottom line, you can compare against all kinds of people. You can compare against all sorts of things amongst your Steam friends, and you can filter it based on clan and so on and so forth. All right, jump back to questions while we leave this up for a sec. Lelouch the Toxic says, I think the randomized run allow players to reset constantly the runs to get the best one for them without any punishment. Well, there is a punishment. You're going to lose your win streak. So you can do that. You can restart your run as much as you want. We considered like doing some harder kind of punishment for that, like actual gameplay affecting things, and decided to get rid of that and not do it because we want to focus on win streaks as an expression of like how good you are at the game. So if you sit there restarting your run, you will lose your win streak. So you can do that, but then you're not going to be competing against the best players in the world. All right, show the map. Okay, I will show the map. Oh, that's another feature that we added. Thank you, Jada Jordy. There is a overlay map you can bring up at any time, in addition to the main map where you make decisions. This is another feature that we added after the public beta and got feedback from players, so you can kind of see what sorts of decisions that you're going to face in the future as you go through the Rings of Hell. So we'll see more of what that means later, but we're going to be getting a merchant option, and we're going to get to choose left or right after this battle. So I know we're going extremely slow right now, and I promised I wasn't going to do that, so sorry, but I hope people are enjoying, I guess, the overall explanations of all the stuff that's going on here. All right, Mr. Chimney says, what was the reasoning behind buffing March of Shields so hard? -1 mana and plus armor seems crazy, considering it was strong already with Ascend. You know, I don't remember exactly what the stats are on that card. Let's go look in the logbook. I can show off another logbook feature. So if I open up the logbook, type in March, it says 0. That's because I haven't seen it. So I can't find that card because I did not cheat to unlock all the cards in the logbook. So I can't answer your question. Hopefully someone in our chat can from the dev team, because I don't remember exactly what the stats are on that card. All right, let's play another turn at least. Okay, we're going to put Wildwood Sap onto our champion to get some regeneration. I am going to put Wildwood Custodian somewhere. Probably put him here for now, because it looks like we're probably not going to kill everybody in this room. We're going to lose this Train Steward, sadly, because of my prior, probably poor decision-making. Yeah, I really wish now that I had one of my Ice Tornadoes. We're definitely going to get both in our hand on next turn, though, so we'll kill both these guys on the next turn. Not sure what else I'm going to do here. Maybe I'll play one there. Yeah, just do that. Alright, so our Train Steward actually died because the enemies have spikes, which came from the trial, the Retribution trial that we took. Okay, what can we do here? So, as badly as I want to Ice Tornado this room, I also don't want these guys getting into the Pyre to deal damage to my Pyre. So, yeah, I've definitely misplayed this battle. I probably should have ignored the Collector. I got too greedy. Should have ignored the Collector, and we should have Ice Tornadoed this wave much earlier, but hey, live and learn. We can see what's going on and see the types of decisions that you would be making if you were playing Monster Train and you were in control. So, I'll just Ice Tornado this. I don't know. Now I'm out of Ember, though, so that's the problem with Ice Tornado. We can maybe upgrade it to reduce its Ember cost later, but right now we can't. So let's end the turn. This boss is going to deal some damage, and he's going to use his boss ability. One piece of good news, though, because of our champion upgrade we chose, we are going to have 10 cards in our hand after this turn. So this is Relentless, something that's happening here. You can see that the enemies are not climbing after only attacking once each. And so whenever there's a boss in a room, they go into Relentless Mode. And Relentless Mode is, we needed, like game design-wise, we need a way to make sure that they're advancing towards the Pyre at all times. And so that's the glow around the room. And whenever you're in Relentless Mode, it means the enemies are going to keep attacking you over and over until either they're dead or you're dead. So, and then this boss has this Resolve trigger, that's his special ability. It added a Weight of Contrition card to the top of your draw pile. One thing that's funny about that is normally you would draw that on the next turn. I'll show you what that is. It's kind of a negative card here. So if you keep it in your hand, it deals damage to you. Damage to your pyre, which we don't want, of course. However, because of our champion ability, we already have a full hand, so we couldn't draw it anyways. So, sucks to be you, Mr. Boss. Okay. What do I want to do? I'm probably just going to Ice Tornado, and then hope I draw it again as the hand cycles again. Because if we get it again, we can kill him in the next turn. Alright, he put another one of those into our deck. Come on, Ice Tornado. Ah! Well, I didn't get it. So, I have no one to heal, so Restore is pointless. I definitely want to cast these Weight of Contritions to get them out of my hand, otherwise I'm going to take pyre damage. And I'll Frozen Lance him once, and we're going to take some pyre damage here, sadly. So he attacks. Our pyre can, mercifully, it can attack back. Attacks for, by default, 20 damage, and it has an ability called Sweep. It hits all the enemies in the room with that damage. Enemies attack first, though, so if they go into your pyre, you're almost guaranteed to take some damage. So we took, 12 points of damage right there. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. I'll blame it on the fact I'm streaming. I was just doing it to explain. It was just an example, guys, right? All right. At the end of every battle, we get to see some information about our points. That's another thing that trials do, is they give you more points. So in leaderboards, especially when there's a lot of people playing, you're probably going to have to take all trials almost all the time to be at the top of the leaderboard. We got some coins. And we got 2 packs. We got a clan pack and an allied clan pack, excuse me. So Awoken and Stygian. Let's open them up. What do we get here? So for our Awoken clan, we've got to choose from these 3 cards. So we got Sting, which was redesigned since the public beta and demo. Deal 5 damage to the front enemy unit and draw 1 more card next turn. Cost 0. I do like card draw, but we do already have Wildwood Custodian here who helps us. And, you know, we didn't protect him very well in that battle, but we can do better. We've got Wildwood Sap, which we already have 2 of, so I'm probably not going to want that. And we've got Restoration Detonation. Restore 10 health to a friendly unit. Deal friendly damage to the front enemy unit equal to 5x the amount healed. This card can be interesting. We are going down a champion upgrade path that has a high health. It doesn't help you in relentless battles, which is why, although this seems really strong, we've had to continue to buff it, actually, because it's like, because of the design of the game, it's like less good as you get towards bosses. But I think it's not bad, so why don't we try it? We'll try it. Alright, and here we go from our Stygian Guard. We've got Ancient Synergy, another high-cost spell. And it's a rare card, too. That's what the purple icon means. Deal damage to the front enemy unit equal to 2x the number of spells in your deck 3 times. 22 damage 3 times. Or 22 damage... How many spells do I have in my deck? Let's look. I can't possibly have that many. So it must be 22 damage total. I've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so it's 22 damage 3 times, though. So that's not bad. And if we keep drafting spells, we can make that better. We've got Titan's Gratitude. Deal 25 damage to the front enemy unit. Discard a card at random. Only costs 1 Ember. And another Ice Tornado. I've got enough Ice Tornadoes. I'm not going for another one of those. Titan's Gratitude can be interesting because the Stygian Guard also has a mechanic called Offering. And Offering is an ability... Whoops. That's not the button I wanted to hit. Let's see if I have any Offering cards in the logbook we could look at. Filtered by Stygian. Okay, I do. I think I do. Let's see. Here we go. So, Crypt Builder has Offering. So what Offering does is, if it's discarded before the end of your turn, it will instead be played. So you can play them for free, basically, if you can find a way to discard them. So Titan's Gratitude can combo cards like Crypt Builder, which deals 60 damage to the front enemy and pushes it to the back. But you need a way to discard them to get that extra ability to do the free cast. I think I'm going to go Ancient Synergy. I mean, it's kind of doing something similar to Ice Tornado, except it's better because it scales more, if you can make it scale with more spells. I'd say utility-wise, I mean, Titan's Gratitude might be better. We might get offering cards later. It's also cheaper. We already have 2 high-cost spells with Ice Tornado. All right, I think I'm gonna try Titan's Gratitude, and we'll see if we get an offering card. All right, jump back to questions real quick. So Raztog says, how can you tell how many turns till the boss appears? So you can't, but with experience, it's not hard to know, really. There's always a kind of resting wave between them where it says a brief respite, where you can, continue to try to defeat the other enemies in the train or heal your own units and so on. And the boss always comes the turn immediately after that for normal battles. And then there are flying kind of big boss battles at Ring of Hell 3, 6, and 8, which they're just kind of always there, and then they enter Relentless Mode, and it warns you when that happens. But there's no countdown for that. We've definitely considered that before, but never really felt like it was important enough to put into the game. Like, it just kind of feels like you just learn and you know. So yeah. See what you think. If you have other opinions on that, feel free to send them over to us. Is the game playable even offline? Yes. So we do have a lot of like server-oriented features. Even like your run history is stored on our servers. And the reason for that is you can share them with people, which we think is a really cool thing. You can like send a link to somebody and say, hey, check out my sweet run. And then that person can just click that and go into Monster Train and see like the deck that they had, blah, 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 so on and so forth. In fact, why don't we go and see that feature? So we'll just go, we can continue our run right where we are, so don't worry about that. So if we jump over to our run history, so these are all stored online. So if you're offline, you actually can't see your run history right now, so that's a little bit sucky, but if you play runs while offline, we do save them and we upload them as soon as you're back online. So if we go and look at one of my runs, you can see what clans I was playing, you can see what artifacts I had. Yeah, the same one, Improved Firebox. You can see all of the cards I had in my deck and how many of each one. You can see what upgrades I had on them. You can see what battles I played. You can see if I took the trials. And this button right here that says Copy Deep Link copies a link to your clipboard that looks like, like an HTTP://. It's just like that, except it's monstertrain://. And you can paste that in Discord or whatever chat application you want. And then if somebody clicks that, they can come straight to your run summary and see all the same information. So we think that's a really cool feature, and it's also works that way for leaderboards too. So let's just say we go to the daily challenge. Looks like some people have played it. If you click this magnifying glass next to somebody's score, you can see all the information about all their picks and so on. I was going to demo that, but then I just remembered that we locked that out from being visible for fairness in multiplayer until you have played the run, because we think if you could look at that before, you could gain some advantage. So I can't look at these yet. We can see both Thanatos 168 and Rossum were in the private beta, so it does not surprise me that their scores are at the top of the daily challenge leaderboard currently. But I encourage you to play as much as them if you like the game, and compete on here moving forward. All right, I'm going to resume the single-player run we were playing and take more questions. All right, Prime Cantrip 7 says, can you specifically do the multiplayer mode with friends? Yes! Okay, I shouldn't have resumed the run. Let's go back. If you go to multiplayer, we've got these 3 modes. So Hell Rush is kind of this crazy timed mode where there's people playing live together. It's synchronous. The seed's the same. You're getting all the same choices, same battles, same trials. Everything's the same. And you're rushing to try to win battles without running out the clock. Because if you run out the clock, you can't play any cards anymore until the next battle. So usually you end up dying if you get into that situation. And if this Hell Rush button play, if you just click that, that's random matchmaking with the world, basically. So if you want random matchmaking, just easy, get into a game, just hit that. If you want to play with your friends, you want specifically with no randoms, you want to go to custom challenges. I can see challenges I played recently. Yesterday we were testing the game, so Redbeard26 is on the dev team, and we did a challenge there. Generates a share code name, which is like a randomized name from a dictionary of words. This one was covering Rover Tribe. Some weird stuff. They're all in English, no matter what language you're playing the game in. And we've seen some funny combinations. So I look forward to people coming up with some interesting share codes. But you create a challenge. You choose between your primary and allied clan from all the options you would expect. You can optionally add mutators. You don't have to. So mutators are kind of game-changing rules changes and so on. So there's a bunch of them. These are chosen for the daily challenge as well. The daily challenge tries to choose mutators that are like roughly balanced based on the dev team's opinion and player feedback. So there's like going to be positive ones and negative ones. If you're doing your own custom challenge, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can make it super easy, super hard. You choose a covenant level for your run. And then there's a toggle to make it a Hell Rush game or not. So like I said, Hell Rush games are under time pressure and have a maximum of 8 players. If you just make a normal challenge, you know, as many people as you want can play the challenge. There's a handy button just to fully randomize it. This uses the same algorithm that the daily challenge does, so it tries to make it roughly balanced. You can just click that as many times as you want until you see something you like, or design it yourself. And then when you hit Submit Challenge, it's going to make one. Let's click it a few more times. All right, Hellhorn, Melting Remnant. Okay. Cheap Trick, Shields Up, Junked Up. Covenant 1, Not Hell Rush, Submit Challenge. Okay, we got Probably Stevens Poland is our custom challenge name. Shiny Steve, is that you? Is it your Poland? Probably. So anyways, this creates its own leaderboard. Every custom challenge has its totally unique leaderboard, so you could send this to your friends. So this is how you play privately, basically. I mean, somebody could guess this share code name, but they probably won't, right? So then you can just tell people this name. They can type it in here and enter share code. You could say probably, you know, blah, blah, blah. Or from the menu, you can copy a deep link. This works just like the run links do. It's monstertrain : / something something. Probably Stevens Poland is in the URL. You paste it to them, they click on it, it takes them straight to this page where they can compete together on this leaderboard. All right. I don't know. Should we just play this, or should we play this, or should we go back to our single player run? I'm kind of tempted to play this. I wonder if some people are already in there. Yeah, Prime Cantrip 7 says, can you do a run and send a link and be like, can you do better punk with the same seed? Absolutely, that's what this is for. So let's click start run just for fun. Let's see if anybody shows up. The Holy Derp says, just won my first game. Not a question, but I just wanted to say thank you for making a great game, Heart. Well, thank you very much. It looks like somebody is watching and is playing this custom challenge right now. I know it's a little bit crazy. We're just interrupting our single player run. It's worth saying, though, that we saved that game separately. And we did that initially very early on in development. There was only one save game. So if you like left your single player run, we would like delete that and we would say, now your save game's this custom challenge. But now we separate them all. So you can be playing this custom challenge, other custom challenges, single player, whatever. Take a break in the middle of the run and we can come back to it later. So yeah, let's play this custom challenge. Let's see how this one goes so I can show off some of the features here. So this time we've got a different Seraph from earlier. We've got Seraph the Temperate. We'll temper the strength of our units, make our units weaker. First, friendly units enter the final battle with Sap 3, and when Seraph uses his ability, he also adds more Sap, which is minus attack per turn. We got Hornbreak, direct damage spell, Entombed Explosive. It's a unit that has no attack as its base stats, but when it dies, it blows up and deals damage to the front enemy. And Imp in a Box to get some of the ever-favorite imps, who are delicious little guys. I shouldn't say delicious, that's more of a morsel thing, but they're cute little guys that have all kinds of abilities when they're summoned. Alright. We've got a reminder of our mutators, so Cheap Trick, spells cost -1. Enemy units enter with damage shield with shields up, which is super annoying, I'll be honest, but it's interesting. And Junked Up, we start with 8 calcified embers in our starting deck. You may have just seen that somebody did an emote, so when you're playing live with other people in any of the multiplayer modes, you can see who is concurrently playing with you on this sidebar. And you've got a little emote window here to send how you're feeling to them. So you can send the troll, you know, this is my favorite one, heh. And these 5 emotes that we have right now are modeled after the champions in the game. You can use these emotes in our Discord, discord.gg/monstertrain, and they're in the Steam community features. So if you get trading cards, Steam trading cards for the game, you get enough of them, you can unlock these emotes for use on Steam as well. Okay, Hoxie PH asks, how bigger the game is compared to the demo? Well, it's a lot bigger. So the demo was constrained to only 2 clans. It was constrained to only Covenant 1. It didn't have any of the multiplayer modes. So I don't know, 90% bigger, something like that. I'm sure, like, in terms of pure asset count, there's some number we could come up with exactly, but in terms of, like, total feature set, it's a lot different. And I mean, multiplayer really adds a lot, too. All right, so I'm starting my run. I'm a positive guy. I'm going to send my little happy candle guy emote. When I send that, all the other players who are playing can hear that and see it. And let's go. Choose an artifact. Ashes of the Fallen. Summon abilities trigger an additional time. So summon are things that happen when the unit is brought into the train. And I know from past experience playing the game that Imp in a Box, all imps have summon abilities, so that's tempting. Or the Precious Plating, your pyre gets plus 40, which we saw before. So I'll try Ashes of the Fallen for fun. All right. We can also see everybody's Steam pick here. So Slow Psycho, hello to you, sir. Using someone's real picture, maybe yours, maybe not. Yeah, so we've got people. I don't know who these people are. So that's like a Bobo from Double Dragon, I think. Colored differently than he originally was, but as a Double Dragon aficionado, I'm pretty sure that's a Bobo. Okay, and we can see that Root Beer Panda just finished the first battle, so now says she's on the second ring of hell. I know who that is because she's in the private beta. We can see the names. We'll probably make that UI better at some point, but we can see the names of all the players that are in that battle and where their trains are. In fact, as they move through the map, we can kind of see where they go, too. So I can see that Sir Slayer, like me, is just hanging out here in limbo, chilling, maybe making decisions about what we're going to do. All right. Marmodez says, fun fact, the emote voices originally was just me recording myself in the company bathroom making weird noises and scaring my coworkers. That is true. If I remember correctly, Marmo, one of them still sounds vaguely like your original one. Maybe this one? I'm not sure, though. We get live notifications as what's going on. Gordy just completed Battle 1 as well. Slow Psycho just completed Battle 1. We'll also see when they die, if they die. All right, and it's important to note that, you know, depending on the aspect ratio of your monitor, I'm playing in 16:9 right now. Sometimes this player UI can block some things, so you can toggle it on and off as you wish. And if you're on like a more narrow aspect ratio, like 5:4 or 4:3, you're probably gonna have to toggle it off, unfortunately. My recommendation would be, it's 2020, time for a new monitor. But they've got 32:9 now. It's crazy. Have you seen those ones that are 32:9? By the way, speaking of, somebody asked this question yesterday. Do we support all aspect ratios? The answer is yes, we support all aspect ratios. We got your widescreen monitors, your square monitors, whatever you got, the game supports. So, you know, get Monster Train and don't worry about it. It's going to be okay. The UI is going to work. Techno Main says, is there a way to look at your deck? Yes, this button right here in the upper left, deck, with the default key binding of Z, opens your deck view. So you can see that my deck is junked up. That's the name of the mutator. It's filled with calcified embers. So many of them. I can permanently get rid of these from my deck because they have the purge keyword here. Once played, this card is removed from your deck for the rest of the run. So it's going to be my goal for sure to get rid of these as fast as I can. But they cost 3 ember, so it's a commitment to cast them. All right. Back to the Dark Forge, our upgrade path options. Reaper changes my base stats to 18-6. Every time I kill somebody, I get 10 more attack. That's good. Scales up. Early game, you're going to get a lot of kills with that. Late game, you need to continue to buff the Hornbreaker Prince, the champion from the Hellhorn. And we've got Brawler, Multi-Strike 1, which also has base stats of 6 life, just like the other path, and does not change the base damage, but it's 6 times 2 by default. And Multi-Strike is really good if you can buff your unit with abilities like, or excuse me, status effects like Rage, which increases attack. All right. And Hansen says, if I turn my monitor sideways, can I see all 3 floors at once? So I actually have 2 monitors at my desk right now. So I'm playing on a 16:9 landscape one right now. The monitor just to my left it's a 4K monitor in portrait mode. And I think right now the answer might be no on portrait mode support for portrait monitors, but there's no reason why we couldn't support that. And I know Owen on the dev team was recently working on things like if you move the window between multiple monitors, if you have that, supporting like being able to pick up the fact that the resolution options should change. So I think it might work once that change goes in. So that's not in the that's not in this release build, but that's the type of thing, you know, just as an example, we're going to patch that into the game. That's coming for people with multiple monitors, and I guess people who might want to play with portrait mode monitors. And I agree, yeah, seeing all the rooms in the train at the same time would be pretty cool. So I'm actually excited to try that. I hope it does work. And if it doesn't, maybe we can make it work. All right. Let's see, what do I want to do? We've got the temper the strength of our units, Seraph, so that's going to make our attack go down even more, which I'm going to go for Reaper because of that. Like, maybe we can get a permanent increase on our champion's attack. All right, here we go. All right, we got the same boss from our single-player run. You know, it's randomized. Sometimes you're going to see the same stuff. And we got the same trial, actually. That's interesting. So 75 coins for spikes. We have no healing at all. We do have some direct damage spells, which can get rid of spikes, guys, so let's take the trial and go. Alright. Well, enemies do come in with damage shield, of course, because of the shields up mutator. Ooh, that's always annoying. Okay, let's just use our Impetus box immediately and see what we get. We got two. We got the Pyre Chomper. When we summon him, we gain more Ember, which we do not need on this turn, so I probably won't cast him. And we've got the Fledgling Imp. When we summon him, we get Rage. Rage is good. Helps us kill. Damage shield, annoying. I wish I had some of our direct damage spells right now. Speaking of viewing your deck, I'll point out that Hornbreak, which we have in our deck, has Piercing, which means damage dealt by this card ignores armor and shields, which is really good against damage shield because it doesn't block the damage. Unlike Torch, which it would block it. Alright, Rawsome Twitch says, how does Mark feel about being at the top of new and trending on Steam? Well, I didn't know that, but thank you for letting me know, and that makes me feel very good. Yeah, I mean, I'm just so excited to bring this game to the world. We've been working so hard on it, and, you know, we've had our public beta and our demo, but, you know, not that many people saw the game, right? There's still tons of people out there who haven't seen the game yet, so I'm super excited to have a lot of new players in here. And like I said, I want to reset my, you know, McCheat kind of high covenant level and actually compete against my friends and other people online. All right. So I'm always conflicted with like spikes and damage shield. Like, what do we want to do here? Damage shield is so annoying. We didn't draw any of the cards I would have wanted. I don't know what I want to do here. This guy's got 40 health, so we're not going to kill him. Why does he have 40 health? That seems really high. Maybe that's normal now. Alright. The Entombed Explosive, who I love, is not even really going to do that much here because when he dies, it's going to be blown up against damage shield. In fact, I might use him up here. I'm going to do that just to try to like actually make him useful with the hope that by the time enemies get up there, they don't have damage shield anymore. I don't know. This is tough. This is a terrible starting hand. Let's just YOLO. We're in battle 1. It's okay. We can take some damage. Alright, I'm going to put my Hornbreaker Prince here. I'm going to use one dreg here. It will die just to get damage shield off that guy. And I'll put another one here. Alright, I'm going to save my imps to maybe make use of them later. Okay. Tempting, of course, to use my torches to get the collector. Always greedy, always want that gold. They cost 0, which is great from Cheap Trick. However, because of damage shield, I'd have to use both of them to kill that guy. And the torches can also be used to pop damage shield on other characters. So it's probably smarter to get rid of damage shield on, like, that guy, for example. And I don't know. Maybe the healer, too? I'm not sure. We can't kill him, so... Now we'll see. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that guy. And we might as well cast one of these calcified embers to get rid of it from our deck. since we had nothing else we could do anyways. And the collector ran away, escaped, unfortunately. All right, Crackalackin Chris says, so I play a lot of Slay the Spire. What is similar and what is different between those two games? And kind of related, Seth Darkheart says, looks like a different take on the formula. Is there a content roadmap? Okay, so yeah, certainly we took some inspiration from Slay the Spire, amongst other games like Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, other deck builders, board games, a lot of different places. And yeah, like I think the number one difference, if you just really want to compare between the two games, is we've got this multi-floor terrain that has different battlefields that you have to think about and take care of, and a lot of rules, and we haven't seen any on this stream yet, outside of kind of the base game rules, that can affect how the floors work and so on. Like, you can root enemies so that they can't go up on their turn. You can use cards that break the normal rules and move your units in between rooms. You can push enemies down. You can do things that like daze them, which means they can't attack during their turn, and then push them into the pyre, and your pyre can kill them for you. So that kind of gameplay twist is really interesting, we feel. We hope you like it too. And definitely is different. You know, they're both deck building games, so you're building your deck throughout the course of a run. They're both run-based games, so there are certainly similarities. But, you know, we think for sure we've got a lot of interesting differences in Monster Train. Some of the multiplayer stuff is pretty different. Hell Rush is very different from anything in Slay the Spire, with kind of multiple players playing the game at the same time, synchronously, to try to see who can be number one. If we have time, we can try that too. Looks like people are dying on Battle 3. We see people dropping off here. So it looks like pretty hard, although Hecko123 is on Battle 4, so good to you. Good for you, Hecko. Top player currently on this custom challenge. Anyways, the dev team, a lot of us have played Slay the Spire. We love it. I'm looking forward to streaming with Anthony from Megacrit. We're going to do a stream together at 5 p.m. my time, which is now 6-ish hours, 5 hours and 45 minutes from now. I'm really looking forward to speaking to him. So we love that game, but our game is different. And I hope from watching the stream, my stream and other people's, you can see what the differences are. All right. Okay, someone with a fancy font name. Let's see. Teratoma. I just came to say, whoever designed the game, please raise my children. Thank you. Okay, Andrew. Multiple people contributed to the design, like all of the game dev team did. But Andrew is our game director, lead designer. So Andrew, looks like you're gonna have some children sometime soon. I already have kids, so I don't need more. I love my daughters, but I've got enough kids already. King of Swords says, do you unlock the Stygian Guard just by completing the tutorial run? Because I just did that. No, not just by doing that. There is unlock criteria, but you know, we don't want to make unlocking the clans too hard in single player, because that's not really what the game is about. We want to open up strategic possibilities to you early. There's my cat meowing next to me. Yeah, so unlocking the clans, it takes some amount of time, but we don't want that to be a huge grind or anything for single player. And in multiplayer modes, all content is unlocked all the time, which is necessary to create an even playing field. So if you want to see everything right away, just go play multiplayer. Although, you know, I recommend playing single player first, because if you jump right into the deep end, it can be difficult. All right. Ska92 Russ says, shut up and play. Well, Ska92 Russ has spoken. Why don't we do something? All right, let's play the Entombed Explosive here. Let's kill this healer. I don't want him getting healed for any more. Let's play a Train Steward in here. And our champion is dead because of spikes, and probably misplaying also. I'm sure someone will tell me what I did wrong. So, not looking like a good start. And I'm trying to stop my cat from biting my headphone cable. He loves eating cables. Alright. Where do I want to play this dreg? He's got Burnout, so Burnout counts down every turn. He will die when Burnout runs out, so if we play him on the top floor, he'll die before the boss even gets there, so let's just summon him here. There goes our champion. Sad face. I can see why people died on the third battle in this run. It's probably quite challenging overall, given the mutator combinations. Alright, we finally got Hornbreak, which I was hoping to get much earlier, which can kill people through damage shield. So we could Hornbreak this healer, or this one, even more annoying, because he's with the boss. Let's just do that. Hey. Sorry, my cat's still bothering me here. Alright, where do I want to put these train stewards? I might just play them both here. Let's try to beat on the boss as much as we can, get rid of his shield. Definitely taking pyre damage this battle for sure. Oh, we already did. I'm kind of like watching the sidebar here to see if Sir Slayer or Gordy266 completes level 3. Alright. This damn Chains of the Sighted put a Weight of Contrition into our deck, so... Alright. Sorry, I'm still just trying to avoid... Here, cat, come here. You're gonna be on stream. Stop biting my cables! Stop biting my cables! Okay, let's see if you got the message. Alright. Let's burn off this Weight of Contrition, I think. Or do I want to play a Train Steward and possibly get rid of a Calcified Ember? You know, I definitely want to get rid of them. So it might make... Well, okay, I can't do both of those things. Since I only have 3 Ember. I might want to get rid of a Calcified Ember just because I want to get this junk out of my deck. And just eat the 3 pyre damage as a cost of doing business, so to speak. See, he's going to take 45 damage. I mean, he's going to take... a bit more if I play that Train Steward. I don't know. I'm going to do it. Let's get rid of the Calcified Ember. I'm going to take 3 damage off that card. Our Entombed Explosive blew up and dealt 35 damage, so that was nice, and we still have one more of those guys there. Did we get anything interesting here? Adding Rage to this guy does almost nothing. The Fledgling Imp will get 1 attack in if I summon him back here. Better than nothing. I don't think we'll kill him. We're definitely going to Hornbreak him. I mean, there's no reason not to for 0 Ember. So the question is, do we play the Imp and play Weight of Contrition to not take that pyre damage, or do we play a Calcified Ember and just eat the extra damage? I'm just going to take a risk. So I'm going to intentionally take pyre damage again here to try to get these out of my deck. Alright. Crackalack and Chris says, how many characters are there? If you mean different, like, unit cards that you can summon into your train, there's a lot. There's quite a few. This cat's driving me insane, sorry. There's quite a few in each clan. Alright, let's look at our clan pack. So, these are green. The Ember costs are green here because they are modified by Cheap Trick, so spells cost -1. So we've got Ritual of Battle, apply Rage 6. Like I said before, Rage increases the damage on whatever unit it applies to, so that's pretty good, actually, on our champion, because it means he'll get his Slay trigger more often. We've got another Imp with Welder Helper. Summon, apply Armor 15 to the front friendly unit. Armor is good for survivability. It's kind of like an overheal in a way. And we've got Hidden Passage, which I have mastered apparently. Ascend a unit. So this is like one of these things that's very unique to Monster Train that doesn't exist in other deck builder games I've seen for sure. So you can move a unit up a floor and to the back of that floor. So let's just take it because I can show how that feature works. And that can be cast on enemies as well, which can be useful for things like, in the battle we just played, there was like a healer paired with another unit. I could have pushed the healer out of the room, which means he would have no longer been able to heal the other enemy there, which is nice for breaking up kind of enemies that, you know, you don't want to have paired together. Another example is like shield-oriented enemies being in front of weaker guys that you really want to kill. You can push the shield guys up in the train out of the way. Alright, and from our allied clan, the Melting Remnant, we've got 3 options. So, Purifying Cleanse. Restore 10 health and apply Burnout 2 to a friendly unit. So, restoring health is nice, and Burnout 2 can also be nice. Like, Burnout is not a debuff. We used to have it with red. It was a debuff, and it was red in terms of how the tooltip is listed. But actually, it's not, because it can be good. There are some units that are really strong that have Burnout, and you want to increase it to keep them alive. So it's kind of goes both ways. We've got Wicklash. Enhance a friendly unit with +5 attack That's for the course of battle. Enhancements are things that apply to a unit for the rest of the battle. And applies Burnout 2. Burnout 2 again there. And we've got Descend a unit. So this is the opposite of the Hidden Passage card we just picked up from the Hellhorn clan. The Melting Remnant clan has a card called Dripfall, which descends a unit, moves them down a floor. This one costs more Ember, although it's still upgraded by this mutator. It costs 1 still, because pushing down can keep enemies out of the pyre room. So both going up and down can be useful in different situations, but we think going down is a little bit more useful usually, so that's why those cost more Ember. Since I already took Hidden Passage, I'm not going to take Dripfall. I don't know if we really want to put Burnout in anything right now. We might want it later, so that is a bit of a hard call here. I don't think... we might want healing later. I don't know. Burnout can be interesting to apply with Entombed Explosive. Sometimes you want him to blow up. Like, you just want him to blow up as fast as possible to deal his damage, because the Melting Remnant has cards that allow you to bring units back from the dead. You can bring them back into your hand during combat after they're dead. Normally that doesn't happen. Once you've summoned a unit into your train and it dies, it's gone permanently for the rest of battle. I guess permanently is too strong a word. It's gone for the rest of battle into what we call the Consume pile, and there's a way to bring it out of there if you're playing the Melting Remnant. But right now we don't have any of those things. Oh man, what the hell, I'll take Dripfall. Let's just go all in on trying to show off train manipulation features. Alright, McCaber Tooth Tiger says, game is great, guys. Question, is there a cool build synergy and the impression of being OP like in Slay the Spire? Well, there's a lot of different synergies with the fact you can mix and match the clans, and there's a lot of different game mechanics, so I encourage you to try to find your best one, and let us know if you find something that feels broken, especially at high Covenant levels. Oh! Okay, both Gordy and Sir Slayer completed level 3, so they're doing pretty well. We can actually scroll down and see what's going on. So, in any custom challenge, daily challenge, or Hell Rush, you can see what's going on with the other trains. So Sir Slayer went left here. Gordy's still in, he's choosing his rewards or thinking about it. And we can see that Slow Psycho and Root Beer Panda died here on the third battle. Okay, so here on the map, we choose what direction we want to go. Do we want to go left? Do we want to go right? Depends on what rewards we want. So on the left, on this Ring of Hell, is the Merchant of Magic and some coins. And on the right is the Merchant of Steel, which upgrades your units. I should say that the Merchant of Magic upgrades your spells. And a Hellhorn banner to get another unit. And to look, I try to always look back at what boss I'm going to face, because sometimes I forget, and that's why all of this information is up here in the HUD. This is both for streaming, so that if you're watching, you can see the information quickly if you're just kind of catching up with what's going on, but also for the local player too, to see who you're going to be facing, so you can be reminded of it. So we have the Seraph that is specifically going to reduce the attack of our units. I do want to get more units though, because our units are not super great right now. And we already have Cheap Trick, which is a nice buff for our spells. I mean, I'd also, however, love to remove Consume on Imp on a Box. That's always very good. So there's a spell upgrade that is one of the more expensive ones that allows you to remove Consume. At least I think it's still in the expensive bucket. That may have been changed. Don't quote me on that. All right, but let's go to the right. I'm going to pick my unit first. Okay, we've got two options. This was a Hellhorn banner specifically, so that's another thing. You'll see on the banners it shows the clan graphics, so you can see which clan you're going to be picking from. We got a rare card and an uncommon card. So we've got the Deranged Brute with 1 Ember, 2 capacity, how much space it takes in the room, base stats 1025, and rage on friendly units adds an additional +2 attack per stack. +2 attack per stack is great for rage. We don't have a ton of ways to generate rage now, but we could gamble on it and hope we do. And we got the Steelworker, who has Resolve, gain 5 armor. So after each combat, he adds 5 additional armor, which could be a great frontline blocker for our champion with 10-15 stats. So I think I'm going to go Steelworker on this run. All right. Okay, Cantrip 7 says, is there a max limit to how many units can be put on a floor? Is it 1-to-1 possible max capacity? Here, I will explain exactly how capacity works. All right, we're going to do the Pyre Absorbers battle. Our trial is Armor Emblem, Armor 10 to the enemies, and we get a unit draft for that. Okay, because I feel like this seems like a hard challenge, and I already misplayed Battle 1, I'm actually not going to take the trial, so let's try to make it to dataless at least. All right. Okay, so here is how capacity works. Let me explain this. This is very important. This is a unique feature of Monster Train. Each card that's a unit has a capacity number. All the ones in my hand happen to have 2 right now. So Hornbreaker Prince 2, Steelworker 2, Train Steward 2. By default, every floor has a capacity limit of 5. So you can only put up to 5 of these pips in here. And I'll show you what happens when you summon somebody in. Let's see. I'm just going to go, well, let's see. What do I want to do? So I've got Hidden Passage, and I also have Drip Fall. So for maximum flexibility about room changes, I'm going to summon my units in here. So I'm going to bring the Steelworker in first, which we can see now shows 2 capacity pips here. I'm going to bring the Hornbreaker in. Now it's 4. Now, I think some people have gotten confused and thought that it's only possible to put 2 units in each floor in the train. You know, and anytime people think that it's our fault as developers for not making it clear enough. So one thing that we did, like last minute, right before the game came out, is we added an explicit tutorial for how capacity works, which I hope will help explain this. Importantly, I cannot bring my Train Steward into this room now, because my capacity is already 4 out of 5, and he takes up 2. Some units only take up 1, so you can put him in there. I'll also say, in terms of like what else can happen in the game, you can add capacity to a room, you can remove capacity to a room, you can change the capacity on a unit through various mechanisms. So there's a lot of ways how you can explore the strategic space surrounding this. Another thing that you can do is you can break the capacity rules. So why don't we do that? Okay, why don't we do 2 things related to floor movement? This is a nice little opening hand for explaining these things. Okay, we've got Hidden Passage, which will move a unit up. So I'm going to preview this and not click. So it shows that it's going to push them up into the room above. And we've got Drip Fall, which will push a unit down. So why don't we do 2 things? Like I was explaining before, we can separate these 2 guys. We can get the healer away from Overcharged Apprentice, and even better, I think we can trigger the Slay ability on our champion to gain some attack with no downsides. So I'm going to pull the healer up into this room. Well, the only downside was this guy has an Incant trigger, so anytime you cast a spell in the same room as the Overcharged Apprentice, he gains 1 attack. And Incant is a general trigger ability that is all over the place in the game, for especially in the Stygian Guard clan, for things happening every time you cast a spell in that room. Okay, so now this healer is here. He has no attack, so we're not going to take any damage. First, our Steelworker is going to hit him. It's going to lower the damage shield, and then our Hornbreaker Prince is going to kill him, and we're going to get the Slay trigger, which is awesome. There's still more we can do. We got 2 Ember, and we've got 2 Ember showing on our cards. Here is how... although normally I think I would probably not do this, I'll do it just for explanatory reasons. So like our Entombed Explosive only costs 1, and I would really like to play him in the front here so that he takes damage and acts as a shield and blows up and deals damage back. But I will summon a Train Steward here, and I'm going to Drip Fall him. So you might think, what's going to happen? There's only 5 capacity here. He takes up 2. The tooltips also show you how much capacity each unit takes. Heko just died on battle 6, so that's the second flying boss. But however, with these room-changing cards, you can break the capacity rules. So now it says we're 5, and this box with the red means we're like, that he of course starts talking on top of, damn you, Train Steward. This little red box shows that we've gone like overkill, like we're above it, which is fine. You can be in that state. Now, it means 100% we can't summon anybody into here, but we can still push units up and down on the train to get them in. All right, let's go. We got our Slay trigger, we got our armor from that Resolve trigger on the Steelworker, which is great. Now we've got our room to lay some beat down. Unlike last time, okay, we got a couple things we can do. I am going to torch off his damage shield, which I hope means he's going to die. Looks like it will. Yep, he's dead. I'm going to Hornbreak. I mean, he's going to keep getting his Incant trigger, which makes me a little sad, but I really want to get rid of this Collector. I'm going to Hornbreak him. Now he's dead, which is fantastic. Unfortunately, the killing blow is going to be dealt by the Train Steward, not my champion, so I'm not going to get the extra attack from the Slay trigger. I could play the Entombed Explosive, but I want to keep getting rid of these, so I'm going to get rid of one. All right. Amphi DSF says, any thought of having streaming integration in the future? I'm told that the folks at Shiny Shoe have experience there. Yeah, interesting. We put a lot of thought into the streaming experience for the game to try to show, like I was talking about earlier, like up here in the HUD, like we want you to be able to just, like, if you're a viewer, you just come in, you see what's going on, and you're ready to go. You kind of understand the context of what's happening. But in terms of, like, other types of integrations, like showing somehow, like, I don't know, like a Twitch extension or something like that, I think that would be super cool. No plans to announce at this time. We're going to have to balance things like that against adding other features to the game and so on. Yeah, one thing I want to point out, though, that I really like this, like, if you're a streamer and you want your community to just join the challenge you're playing, if you're doing a custom one, the name is right here. So if you want to play this challenge with me live right now, go into custom challenges from the main menu and enter probably Stevens Poland, and you can come and join me. All right, so what do we want to do now? We could get rid of another calcified ember. We're not going to take that much damage here. They're only showing 6 attack, and we've got 5 armor already. We're also not really going to kill these guys that much, but I'm tempted to... I want to keep getting rid of these, so I'm going to strategize around the long-term payoff of that. All right, Gordy 266 and Sir Slayer both on Hellring 5. And I'll play a Dreg with the hope that I can burn off some damage shield on the boss when he comes in. Neko Kitwolf says, I bet this has been asked, but will this game allow people to make mods? We are definitely interested in the concept of that. We don't have any, like, immediate plans right this second to allow it. I'm sure, like, some talented technical people will find a way to hack things into the game. But I would love to support mods in an official way. I think the thing that I've said in the past when this question has come up is I would love to work with experienced modders in terms of helping define what types of features would be interesting and what types of tools you would like to see. So if you're interested in discussing that more, please come onto our Discord at discord.gg/monstertrain. And maybe, like, if there's enough interest, we'll make a modding channel there and we can start talking about what might make sense. Again, like streaming integration features, we have to balance that against, like, you know, we only have so many people working on the game. What other types of features we might be able to add. But I'm definitely into it. You know, I've seen how mods, you know, over the many, many years, like when I was a young lad growing up, I used to mod Doom 2. Doom and Doom 2. Doom 2 is one of my favorite games of all time. And I made maps for that, and so I know how powerful modding can be around building a community for a game, so I would love to put it in if we can. Alright, what do we want to do here? We've got a lot of good tools in our hand. Let's just cast Imp in a box right away to see what we get. Okay, well, we don't have any Ember problems. Bolting Imp is interesting. Deal 5 damage to all enemy units, so it could be, it's like an AoE. We could wipe out all the damage shields in this room, or this one. I think I might do it on the boss, though. And I'm going to cast him in front, so that's another choice. Anytime you're summoning a unit, you can decide where it goes. Because this unit only has 1/1 base stats, and the stats on the Dreg are better, just intuitively, I'm going to put him in front. Oh! Oh! I've been talking so much I even forgot what my artifacts were. We have Ashes of the Fallen. Summons triggered an additional time. So this little guy, thank you, Multi-Imp. Meep, meep. Well put. Meep, meep. You jerks. Triggered his AoE 5 damage twice, so it took off all their damage shields, and it killed those 2 guys that only had 1 life. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Alright. What else do we want to do? I mean, there's no real reason to cast the Pyre Chomper. I don't know. I'll just do it. Okay, so let's put a Train Steward here. Let's chomp it up. Got 8 Ember. Okay, now we're going to deal some more damage here. I will kill this guy, I think. I don't know if that was the right decision to use 2 torches, but we'll take a little bit less damage than the Pyre because of that. I'm just going to let him go in there, and I'll do 5 more damage to the boss. Amphin DSF says, has Mark mentioned enemy capacity limit yet? No. So there is an enemy capacity limit, which is just 7 enemies in a room, or generally that's true on your side as well. There can only be 7 total units on each side of the room. If you go any more than that, nobody else can go in, even with like hidden passage or other kind of rule-breaking cards like that. And the reason for that is very simple. It's just like there's only so many things we can put on the screen at one time. When there's 7 units in your room, you can see these 3 guys are already kind of filling the space. They just get really cramped. You know, it starts to get hard to target with them with the mouse and so on. So just based on the kind of design space of the game and what we felt was appropriate based on how the units look visually, how big they are, how we wanted controls to work, we kind of, you know, somewhat arbitrarily set that limit at 7 and then designed all the rules around that to make sure that that was workable. That rule also applies to enemies. It's pretty rare that it comes up for enemies, but it can come up. There's an ability called Haste that allows enemies to move 2 floors up at a time, basically from the first floor straight into the 3rd floor, which if you are facing an enemy with that ability, you have to be very careful about it. Anyway, so that is an additional limit. All right, it looks good on the boss, so I don't even need to cast it, because preview is saying he's going to die, but I just do it always. We get to get rid of another calcified ember, which is lovely, and we're going to kill him. While we are delivering the beatdown, I will look at the other questions. Crackalakin Chris says, is breaking capacity rules have any negatives? Well, in the example I just showed with bringing the train steward down into the middle room, it meant that, you know, previously I had my champion and the steel worker, and so there was 4 capacity and there was 1 capacity slot open. I could have summoned in the entombed explosive, for example, like I mentioned, because he only takes up 1. But because I brought that train steward down with dripfall, the capacity was overfull, which means I can't summon anybody in there. So that's one potential downside, right? If you overfill the room, can't summon anything in there unless you can increase your capacity, which is possible. Primarily through the Umbra clan. Changing the capacity is one of the kind of gameplay themes of that clan. But also there are some artifacts that can change it as well, which we may see. So, all right. Coins. Okay, taking Imps is fantastic with Ashes of the Fallen. I am definitely tempted to take Welder Helper, because we're going to get 30 armor out of that, which is great for us right now. I mean, the Molting Imp, we just saw how fantastic that was against Shields Up. Also very tempting. Vent is also actually very good against Shields Up too. So it's an AoE damage spell to enemies. It's an X card. So whatever your Ember is, it is 2x the Ember that you use when you cast it to all enemy units. So you could always try to save, even if you didn't like want to use all your Ember on it, you could wait until you have 1 Ember and then cast it, and then we're going to get a free, like, or not free, but like conceptually if you had nothing else to do, it's kind of free damage to wipe out the shields. So I mean, I think for us, Molting Imp is kind of almost a better version of Vent right now because of Ashes of the Fallen. It does take up a capacity slot and Vent doesn't, but it's twice, which is really nice for these low health guys. I do also really like Welder Helper, but I think like Molting Imp is so good, I'm going to go for that in this run. Maybe talk about Steam cards. One of my elves suggests, who's helping me with questions. Yeah, we have Steam cards, so that is something we just got in, thankfully, at the last minute yesterday. We've got Steam trading cards for the game, if you're interested in that ecosystem. We've got like custom emotes, we got all kinds of stuff going on, using some of our favorite art from the game, along with all the champions, of course. So as you play Monster Train, you'll earn cards in the normal kind of Steam community. Oh, Marmo's here now. Hello! All right. Wrist13 says, is there a way to change the damage result preview if you hover a unit or spell on the floor, just to see what playing a unit or spell would change before playing it at a glance? Yes, that works for spells. Spells will update live as you're hovering. Hovering a unit, I don't think does, though. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think it does. All right, let's look at what we got this time. So we got Molten Encasement. Extinguish applies Stealth 1 to enemy units. So when the Molten Encasement dies, all of your units get Stealth, just 1 stack of it, which is a status effect, which means they are not participants in combat, so they can't get hit by enemies. This is quite good with Relentless as well. So tempting, but molded perhaps even better. Return a defeated unit and enhance it with Burnout 1. We talked about Burnout before. +5 attack, +5 life, and cost 0 Ember. Reform is really good with like Entombed Explosive because we want them to die anyways. So it's just like we get to use them again. So let's go for Molded. We had one more person join the challenge too, it looks like. Nitro20. Hello to you. All right, where do we want to go? So on the left, we've got a Merchant of Steel, upgrade our units, another Hellhorn banner, And either path we take, these kind of reward nodes in the middle of the map for each ring of hell are shared on both sides. On the right, we can duplicate a card and we can get health. We've definitely taken a significant amount of pyre damage, so I think given the challenge, we're seeing people die. We can see Sir Slayer's got pretty low life right now at 19, and Gordy266 with 37. I'm gonna go to the right here. No, Sir Slayer. Okay, well, to you. I'm sure I'm gonna do worse though. So, okay, we took some life. Hellvent. If we were gonna copy something, what would we copy? So Hellvent allows you to duplicate any card except your champion. Quite powerful. We're definitely not gonna duplicate a Calcified Ember. There are strategies where you might want to, but we definitely don't want to here. All right, Imp in a Box is tempting, for sure. Because imps, especially with our Ashes of the Fallen, are so good. We have Molded, which has the Reform effect, which can allow us to bring back our units. Molded also works with the imps that get summoned from Imp in a Box for even more strategic possibilities. So I'm going for that. Let's go. Now we got another Imp in a Box. And let's go to... Oh, I probably should have gone to the Concealed Caverns first. At least I like to do that normally, because I might get a card from this. All right, what event did we get? We got the Ember Deposits. Frozen in place, collect around openings in the ground. A byproduct of the pyre, these energy sources have gone dormant. At closer inspection, one mound of this rubble seems to have something more powerful protruding from it. While you could take the protrusion, removing some of the Ember Deposits and hauling them away from the area would help you to eventually revive them with some power, granting you something later on. What do you decide to take? All right, well, here's an event that works on blight cards, like these Calcified Embers we've been desperate to purge. All right. Okay, interesting. So take the protrusion. Artifact. +1 Ember per turn for every 2 blight cards in your deck, and we get 2 Vengeful Shards. So, interesting. We already have some blight cards. So if we took this, we would have 4 blight cards in our deck. We'd have 5 Ember every turn, which is great, although with Cheap Trick... in our current deck, we actually don't really need tons of Ember. I mean, look at all this stuff that costs 0 here. We could get 3 more Calcified Ember and get upgraded versions of them later. Okay, so I know what this does because I played the game before, obviously. And I wonder if this is going to be considered a bug by the player community or a feature. If I already have 2 Calcified Embers. If I take these extra 3, I'll have 5. And then, if I survive long enough, and I don't get rid of any of them, these cards are going to change into a different card that is really good. And I wonder if it's only going to change these 3, if I'm able to accomplish that, or if it's going to change all 5. Although this looks like a hard challenge based on where people are dying, let's YOLO. Let's go for it and see what happens. You remove the Ember Deposits from the pile and place them into the Bone Shaker. They may be a burden now, but they could be prove useful later on. Ooh. The train rumbles back to life, leaving the glowing relic behind for another lucky traveler. Dicky Dick asks, are there any plans on adding more cards and such later in the game as either DLC or a free update? I've answered this question already, but to answer it again, yes, we would absolutely love to continue updating the game long term. Whether or not we can do that depends on how well the game sells, frankly. You know, game development's a business. But the dev team loves the game. We're excited about it. We want to continue updating it. Our aim is to be very responsive for any major problems people are facing. And then we would love to add additional content. I mean, this is a huge content add. I'd love to do another Monster Clan. You know, I'm not promising anything here. I'm just saying what we would like to do. I'd love to add more cards, more different champions for the existing clans, more artifacts, more Concealed Caverns events that do different things. There's definitely some that hit the cutting room floor just because we ran out of time that had some interesting ideas behind them. We want to put more mutators into the game, so there's a lot of things that we want to do. We are a team of humans that don't have infinite time, right? So we have to prioritize, but it's something we're thinking about a lot. And if you have feedback, please join us on Discord at discord.gg/monstertrain, or just find Monster Train inside of the Discord search tools and give your feedback there. You know, we'd love to hear from you. All right, on to Daedalus, where Slow Psycho and Root Beer Panda died. So this is the first flying boss we've seen on this stream, which you'll see what that means in a second if you don't know. And he has an explosive sigil sin. Enemy units deal 1 damage to the front unit on death. So when enemies die, they're going to hit the front unit on my side of the train as an extra kind of like punishment. And, you know, even though we just saw that information, we repeat it again right here because so many people forgot it so many times. Right when you enter battle, we just say it to you again. Daedalus can also summon these bombs in, so it's called the constructive explosive. When it's its turn to attack, so after I hit end turn, the bomb blows up and it deals 10 damage to the front unit on my side of the train, which is not great. But look at us. Ashes of the Fallen, summon abilities trigger an additional time. That Molting Imp we drafted a moment ago, we can AoE nuke and kill everything in this floor and remove Daedalus's damage shield. Hell yeah, we're doing that. Of course he's going to die from all these guys blowing up with the Sin, but maybe we're going to get our Reform card and be able to bring him back. Ah, feels good, man. All right. What else do we want to do? So I definitely want to do that same combo I did before. I want to play the Steelworker in front of my Hornbreaker Prince. I'm just trying to decide on what floor I want to do that on. You know, if I do it on the bottom floor, they'll be under threat from, you know, enemies dealing damage, and I kind of want to build up the armor. So I'm going to do it on the middle floor again. And the Train Steward, I'm gonna play him up here again. I mean, I just kind of want to get him out of my hand. I could have played them here. And with a free open shot at Daedalus, any one of these units can attack him. So they can attack the flying bosses based on what room they're flying next to. And there's actually achievements in the game. If you can kill them before they enter Relentless Mode, that's an achievement on each of the flying bosses, which is hard to do. All right, so we might as well torch them. You can also cast spells on them at any time. All right, it's end our turn. At the end of every turn, flying bosses change floors, and they do their ability most of the time, so he decided to bring a bomb onto the middle floor, which is annoying. But looks like we have Hornbreak, so we can get rid of it. Bye-bye. We also got Molded. Should we do our Molded combo with Molting Imp? We might as well. Let's do that. Let's mold him. Bring him. So we click on him. We can see what he's going to do. He was already... wait, no. Okay, well, I can't deselect him now, but... He's going to be 0 Ember. He's going to have Burnout 1. And his stats are going to go to +5/+5, so 6/6. That's for the rest of the battle. Burnout 1 means he's going to die. Even if he survives on the next turn, he's going to die again. But we've got Reform. We can keep bringing him back with Molded. And let's nuke this room. We got rid of all those guys. Oh, it's funny. He actually survived that damage because he got his increased life. So he's actually going to get an attack off. The little candle smoke coming from his head is because he has Burnout, so he will die. And then we can Hornbreak either Daedalus or here. Let's see. So the Forged Disciple is going to be at 29. And he climbs, then we'll deal 19. That will not be enough to get a kill on our champion, unless something else changes. So for safety, I'm going to do that to try to make sure that Hornbreaker Prince gets the kill to get the Slay trigger to increase his damage. Kojuhan says, who is your favorite imp? I think in terms of functionality, here, let's open the logbook. All right, there we go. Daedalus, do your thing first. Let us see. I don't know if I've seen them all. Okay, I haven't seen them all because I've reset my save data again. But there's 5 imps, I think. My favorite one is this one that's depicted in Imp in a Box. He's called the Transcend Imp, and he is a really powerful one, like ridiculously powerful if you have the right deck. Every single summon ability that's happened, like this one here from the Fledgling Imp, summon, apply Rage 3 to enemy units, or friendly units, excuse me, happens again. And with Ashes of the Fallen, which is the artifact that we have, it happens twice. So, I mean, it can just get totally out of control. Maybe we can get a combo like that going. All right. Speaking of, let's cast this. So there is a chance you can get Transcend Imp out of Imp in a Box. All of them are in here. Didn't get him. So we got Pyre Chomper and Fledgling this time. I mean, I kind of like Pyre Chomper too because he's got that big Chungus vibe. We might as well cast him. So we can use him as a chump blocker for the bomb. He'll just soak up that damage, protecting our Train Steward, which is nice. Let's just do that. We can also use this Fledgling Imp here as a chump blocker for this room. Although we've got so much armor on the Steelworker, that may not have any purpose. And we can buff these guys up, which is going to be great with Rage. And it's going to trigger twice. That's also why we have 10 Ember now. Let's do that. 6 rage, plus 12 attack. Looks nice. We've got drip fall, so we could move somebody around here if we wanted to. I think I'm actually not going to move this bomb. I could, but I just want the Pirate Chomper to absorb that. I could push this Forged Disciple down. These guys I can't push down because there's nowhere to go. I could push the Train Steward. In fact, I could have done that before. I could have pushed... No, if I did that before, I wouldn't have been able to cast the Fledgling yet. Anyway, I could push the Train Steward into here. Probably not going to do that. I could push Daedalus down. I think he'll take more damage if we do that. He'll take 13 instead of 5, so yeah, let's just do that. I can show you. You can move the flying bosses down too. So now he's showing he's going to take 13, which is great. Let's put the other Train Steward up here. I'll put the Entombed Explosive here. These guys are only going to do 4, so he's not going to die, but he'll do something next turn. If nothing else, at least he'll clear off a damage shield. Alright. Oblivion Protocol says, hello there. What are the clan choices in this game? There are 5 of them. I showed them off on stream already, and I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to show them again. But there is the Hellhorned, the Awoken, the Stygian Guard, the Umbra, and the Melting Remnant. In order. That's the order that we expect people to unlock them. Hecko1T3 says, is there a way to not have a champion? No. Right now there's not. Maybe we'll add a mutator that does that. Adding mutators is definitely something on our radar to like kind of add crazy rules to the game. I don't know if that would make the game more interesting or not, but we'll think about it. Kojuhan says, are there bees in hell? Yes. Somewhere. Maybe on the map. You can see some bees flying around. Kman600 said, does Descend put the unit at the front or the back? It's at the back. So the tooltips, we'll tell you that. Move down floor and to the back of that floor. Obviously very important for strategizing what you want to do. That's something like just clarity of text is something we put a lot of focus into. We've like changed the wording on things over and over and over and over, which made translating the game challenging, to say the least, in terms of the pipeline for that. And if anything is confusing, please tell us because we want to continue to improve it. I'll show... Oh, I just saw Sir Slayer died on Battle 6 also. Looks like that's where everyone is dying. In our settings, I can show you the languages we support. So we've got English. I would try to say these in their native tongue, but I can't. So we've got French, German, Russian, Portuguese, and simplified Chinese. So... if you speak any of those languages and you're watching the stream, just note that the game is fully localized, every part of it in your language. And who knows? Again, we've had requests to like add more languages. Maybe we will. I don't know yet. We have nothing to announce at this time. All right, let's imp in a box. I'm hoping for another Molten Imp or a Transcend Imp. Those would both be amazing. Oh, not what I wanted. So 2 Fledgling. I mean, it's not bad. We're out of capacity here, so I can't bring them in this room as badly as I would like to. What can we do? What would be interesting? I can bring a lot of stuff into this room, though. I don't know. What the hell? Why not? Let's go ham here. Alrighty. So we brought 5 units into this room. They all had 1 capacity, so that's why we were able to get 5 into here. And let's see what happens. I didn't even look at the preview. I'll tell you one reason why I didn't do that is we're running out of time on my stream. My stream is scheduled to end in 3 minutes. Immediately after me, we're going to have Andrew, the game director of Monster Train, on. And so if you have like really deep questions about the mechanics or why things are designed in a certain way, he's a great person to ask those things. So it sounds like we're going to hold questions since I'm almost out of time anyways. And any questions you ask now will go to Andrew, not me. All right, we've got Hidden Passage. Again, we could change something about the rules here. So we're showing our Steelworker is going to take 15 damage. I don't like that. I want to get rid of this bomb, and I care less about the Train Steward dying, so I'm going to lift the bomb up. So now he's only showing 5 damage, which is great. What's going to happen here? So first, Steelworker is going to attack once it's my turn. Then we're going to get a kill. So I definitely want to leave. I want to leave damage shield on the first guy because I want my Hornbreaker Prince to get his Slay trigger. So I'm going to take damage shield off of that guy. And I'll throw a Train Steward down here just to get this damage shield off. It's beautiful when a plan comes together. All right. Did take some pyre damage there. I'll be sad about that. Alright, so final wave. The flying boss, Daedalus, has now entered Relentless Mode, so now he works like a normal boss. He's going to try to kill, either I'm going to kill him, or he's going to kill my units. He's going to blow up the floor, and we're going to go from there. What do I want to do here? I'll just do that, get rid of that guy. Looks like we got a kill there now. I'll just play my dregs here for fun, because I've got 1 minute left on my stream. I'm gonna go into ultra speed, so here's ludicrous speed. So you can make the game that fast, you know, once you really know how it works. Okay, we're only doing 186 damage, so it's not looking good for me. But the good news for me is, even though I might die, I don't have to have the shame of showing the fact that I would have died on this battle, because my stream time is over. So I hope you enjoyed the last 2 hours with me playing Monster Train. It's out now on Steam. If you're interested in the game, go check it out. It should be on the front page of the store right now, so it should be easy to find. If you're interested in joining our community, go to discord.gg/monstertrain. And with all that said, thanks for your time. Really excited to play multiplayer with you very soon. You know, today, I'll be online. I'm playing right now with people. And yeah, I'll see you again in 5 hours with another stream. Thank you, and enjoy Monster Train. Bye.